my pleasure to introduce Michael Jones. Michael is the Chief Technology Advocate for Google. Doesn't need much of an introduction because many folks know both Google by reputation and Michael. He used to be the Chief Technology of Google Maps Earth and Local Search. He used to also be the CTO of Keynote Corporation, which is the company that developed the technology used in Google Earth. He was also CIO of Intrinsic Graphics, and earlier with the Director of Advanced Graphics at Silicon Graphics. He's a prolific inventor and software developer, and it's my pleasure to welcome him tonight to this lecture. So, Michael.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, didn't like that. Can't do that. Sorry. I had sort of a wardrobe malfunction. So, So, what I'm going to talk about tonight is about this idea of, I said informing the global society, ideas of information, not just information, but information in context, where the context helps people understand the information. Okay, so we were just going to Mount Everest, which Hillary and Morgan did recently, earlier, and we lost Hillary recently. But now we're going to go home, as it were. I just went to Old Time Barbecue yesterday. Had some hush puppies after a multi-year hiatus. And so, so let's see here. So now we're going to go, it looks like the old well there, right in the center of the screen. And then, there was a time when this was a big deal. Governments fought over it, it was secret, it was in the basement of the Pentagon. And everybody does this. And right here, right above our ceiling, we're going to talk about informing a global information society. And to me, there's three parts of that. One is that there is an information society. That's something that's different. And it's not new, but it's different now maybe than it was previously. The second part is that it's global. Formerly, everything involving technology and information was always about the lucky people in East Triangle Park, but not the unlucky people in Sampson County. Whatever it was there was the ins and the outs. And now it's global in a way that never has been before. And the third part is that this is a information-hungry group. That's why they're called the Information Society. But they not only use it, they actually want it. It's more interesting than, for example, some television programs. So, maybe most television programs. So this is a quote from a play. And it was copied, sort of not plagiarism exactly, but copied by a man named John Milton in 1644 for the cover art, as it were, for something he wrote called Aryabhata. And his thesis there was very simple, which was that you shouldn't make me get approval to write a book before I write it, because you can always burn it later. As long as I put my name and publisher information inside the front cover, you'd know where to come arrest me. You could come and force me to stop printing it. So let me go first, and then if you don't like it, you can beat me, right? And that was it was a huge deal. It was illegal, of course, in England at the time to print something that hadn't been approved by the government censors. And he had a lot of things to discourage this. Milton on the right. There are no pictures of surviving pictures of Milton, but Milton, and I think he may be looking back a little bit through Cicero back to Euripides with the cover there. The idea that if you could share what you believe and other people could hear from it, can learn from it, that something special is happening. And so I agree. I agree. We also have happen to live in a country. It's founded on the belief that somehow information is important. Thomas Jefferson wrote over and over and over again, about this idea of a shining light, this light of knowledge. And this light, the shining light, was like knowledge. So information, right, is like a bunch of work, like the stock market page on newspaper. Knowledge is like sell now. Right? Knowledge is like is a distilled form of information. So not just data, but actually actionable awareness. And Jefferson thought it was a big deal. And for the reasons he said it in a lot of ways all during his career. When he was a rebel, with life at risk, and he said it when he was a victor, working his way to be president. During the first president, George Washington's term, UNC was founded. During the third president's term, Thomas Jefferson, he continued his story about education being important. He was the guy behind there ought to be public education for everybody. It should be illegal to keep your kids home to work on the farm, even though that was a pretty serious idea to keep the kids away because they needed to do things, shell peas, whatever. What he said was, if they don't know how to learn from the world around them and don't know how to understand good from bad, you'll be a lot more sorry than you will be if you don't get all the pea shell. Right? And unfortunately, he's right, I think, personally. But it takes more than just a school to make people learn. It takes more than information being presented to help people understand. So a lot of us in the computer graphics world, interactive graphics, visualization, have this belief that there's some high moral imperative to taking data understandable, because then something good will happen. And that good is, we never say what it is. We always convince, we never talk about what the good is. But the good, I think, is that we're optimistic. And this is also funny. This is Socrates. He was just a little bit ahead of Socrates, just a smidgen. And he actually went to the Olympics when it was a new thing, okay? And he got up and declaimed about the Olympics, and basically said, why do you care about muscles? If the guy had twice as many muscles, it wouldn't make a difference to you, only to him. But if he learned something, he could tell you, that'd make everybody better off. And because he was a brilliant man with great poor judgment, because he gave that speech at the Olympics. Okay? So, I thought about that last night. It was a dinner with a couple that I love, and we're at this top of the hill. And we're talking, it was nice, All of a sudden, the lady put on the big projector, and then there was people trying to pull tables together, and the basketball game was on. And we're saying, oh, it's going to be noisy, And we're thinking, well, not much you can say about that now, right? So at least we had better judgment than Socrates. But there's this notion that it really is something important if you can learn something good and you can tell somebody about it, that it's kind of like passing the baton. And so I've been a big fan of that, and it sort of attracted me to Google in a way, which is Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And every word in that is important. It's not a mission statement that somebody made as a committee that sounded good. It was actually, every single word in that describes everything we decide in executive staff meetings, what projects to fund, everything. So if you read something in the paper that Google might be doing and it seems inconsistent with that, then we're not doing it. Okay? Unless we made a specific speech ahead of time, like we're investing in weird power. If we make a specific speech, maybe we're doing it. But other than that, is that. So I was one of the founders of a company called Keyhole, which went to Google. They called us up. Larry and Sergey were customers of ours, as everybody is. Jack Chirac, George Bush, all these people. Everybody has to look at their home. Everybody, right? So Larry and Sergey were the only ones that were going public. So they called us up and they said, how'd you be at Google? And we said, well, what would that mean? And they said, well, we want to organize all the most information. And you're good at showing them what things mean, like where they are. Like not just the list of Starbucks, but where the Starbucks are. And so we said, well, that sounds pretty good. It's kind of like the peanut butter and the chocolate in the Reese's cup. And so we went there with this notion to build a second web, a web that we call the geographic web, or the GeoWeb, which is not a web of geographic information, which would be boring. That would be like GIS. Not this bad thing, but that would be a technical solution. We had this idea to build the peer of the web, where when you look for something, or you're studying something, if it makes sense to get a list, you get a list on a page browser. If it makes sense to get a map, or to see things spatially somehow, you get a kind of place browser. And the data drives how you look at it. There could be other ways. If you watched a video, if you search for videos, probably should get a video browser that's like a picture with a scroll bar and VCR controls, right? So there's multiple ways to see data. The data itself, the kind of media of the data, tells you what kind of browser you want. So we want to build a place browser, because there wasn't one of those. Plenty of video browsers. So what we did to do that was to build a kind of a separation between clients that you would use, that I would use. On the iPhone, there's a Google Maps browser. On the BlackBerry, there's a browser. On a window, on a desktop, in your browser, you can have Google Maps, Google Earth. You can install a modeling tool called SketchUp. We also built clients for the web on phones, and there's a big investment we're doing in something called Android. The logic behind that is that, let me digress for a minute and tell you. there are about 1.3 billion people, okay, today, who have access to a computer with a web browser and a broadband network connection. Okay. So there's 6.5 billion people, 1.3 billion of them have that. Now everybody in this room probably has that, okay? Or you wouldn't have known to come tonight, for example, right? But there are people who don't have that, and they live just fine. So it's not like they don't live a viable life, they're fine. But they just don't happen to be in the game we're in. There are already 2.5 billion people that have mobile phones. Okay. So whatever you think has happened involving some PC revolution and desktops and all that kind of stuff, a bigger revolution happened with phones in people's pockets, purses or whatever, that it surpassed the PC in terms of the connection of people through a device. And it seems obvious, at least it seems obvious to us, that 10 years from now, there might be even more of those. And so then maybe that should be an important thing, and we should invest in that to make that be a good thing. So it's just that simple. So, in fact, while we're here, let's talk about that. So there's a difference in the web browsers. And the web is, I'll talk about that later actually, but the web is a remarkably successful thing, probably the most successful thing in its impact in my lifetime. It's hard to say that because everything's based on something else, and so you could say, well, the most successful thing was like differential equations. You don't know, you couldn't have that if you didn't have calculus. You didn't have that, you couldn't. So like everything's based on like addition or something. So there's no like most important thing. But as far as specific impacts, the design of the web is very unusual, and the design of the internet is very unusual. Most people don't know that there's a difference, for example, between the web and the internet. But obviously, you can have a web browser on your computer and unplug your computer and it's still a web browser. It's not like existentialism where when you unplug the cable, the browser disappears, right? I mean, it's still a browser even when you're not browsing, right? You could browse files that were on your computer in HTML and you could see them in a web browser, right? So the web part is just that there's a connected, interwoven world of links to other documents. That's really good because otherwise you couldn't find them. Of course, you could find them in search. But the links are even better than search because the links are designed by the author of the document. So if the New York Times says, if you're reading this story and you want to know more about this person, if you click here, I'll tell you what I think you should know about it. And if you trust the New York Times or National Geographic or UNC History Department, then that link is probably more valuable than one of millions that we've ranked algorithmically. Right? So it's really valuable, those links are very important. All of that is built on top of the internet, which when it was designed by Vint Cerf and his compatriots, had four computers to be networked. Okay, so this is really important. There's 4 computers to be networked. I'm not going to try to impress you with the growth of that from 4 to 470 million computers on the internet directly, which is a big number. But what's impressive is that the people who built the thing for 4 have been able to serve society's needs with 400 million without changing the basic thing, which is much better than the car, much better than the shoe or whatever. The shoes in Antarctica don't have the same parts as shoes at the mall, right? And so the designer of the shoe didn't plan ahead for all possible kinds of shoe wearing events or all kinds of cars. The Toyota might have a super tough Tundra truck, but it's not tough enough for the highway department to haul big boulders in. Right? Obviously, they use different kinds of trucks. Right? So the kind of one-size-fits-all of the underpinnings of the internet is a majestic design. And it actually, you should know, since you're at UNC, is that Dr. Fred Brooks from the Computer Science Department won a Turing Award, it's kind of the Academy Award of Computer Science. And in his paper, where he gave a speech about that, he talked about how things are designed, how they're built, big systems. He'd been involved in one of the early big systems that strained, or probably the early big system that strained what humans are smart enough to design and implement as one conception. So there are actually things so great they can't spring from Aphrodite's forehead. It takes multiple springings or multiple foreheads or something so that the result is you've got to put the parts together. It's much more important to design for how the parts go together than for the things themselves. And it's a pretty simple way to say that, but it's a huge design aspect. And the internet designers developed a system for both the way it worked and the way it could be extended to let it go together in unplanned ways, in wildly unplanned ways. And that's really quite heroic, and we aren't that good yet, but we inspired it. So I'll tell you about some stuff later. I have a network connection here, so I guess I can actually show you this good stuff. So this is something I did to kind of show off the idea of context. So this is the Earth, we live in this Earth, and these are things we might see. You see planets in Indonesia, you can fly around, you can fly to, see where we're going to go. I do this kind of stuff when I'm telling you. So let's see, where is this? This is middle of nowhere in the South Pacific near the island of Palau. It's totally the Gilligan's Island kind of island, and it's packed with houses. Okay? So there's people everywhere. I love that. We have 100,000 islands like that in Google Earth in the South Pacific. They've got houses on them and people. You might have thought they were nothing there, but palm trees, but there's actually people living there. This is Seattle-Tacoma Airport. What's interesting here is all these little dots. Those are things added by other people on top of Google Earth. The white ones are Wikipedia articles. All the Wikipedia articles that are about a place are located on Google Earth. You read the article there. The blue ones are pictures people have taken or stories they've written about. This is a programmer in Seattle area. It's his house. Bill Gates' house. And then the thing is, it's like this. Airless has a jet. He flies across the water and kind of does these strafing runs on that house. So a lot of teenage behavior in Silicon Valley. Anyway, this is past our home, and then go to San Diego. This is actually a city called Vista, California, which is important mostly because I was born in that hospital. And that's the most important thing that ever happened there. And it's true because it's the most important thing to me. Right? I'm sure everything that happens there is more important than that, really, but none of it more important to me. So there's 370 million or so people using Google Earth, and their home is important to them. Not like their hospital, their place they first kissed. It's their place that's important to them, not some 20 top places. The Eiffel Tower is cool to see, but they want to see where they live. They want to see where their friends are. It's personal. So that's there's another part of San Diego that makes that important, or Vista, and that's this. Near San Diego, you might have read in the paper recently, there were fires. Southern California, and it burned a lot of area. And something really strange happened in that. Those are the fires on the left, and the pluses are Red Cross centers where people can go to hide out. And the green are schools where people can go and hide out, where kids go to school while there were the Red Cross centers. All of the data, everything there was maintained continuously online by volunteers, basically people in San Diego being burned out. So what they did was they had set up a Google map, and Google Maps you can collaboratively edit maps. And what people did, they would call up, and they would say, okay, fire's going down my street because my neighbor's house is on fire, we're packing up the dog, we're out of here. And they would put a little marker on the map that the fire was advancing. So the fire department was using these community-created maps to figure out where to go. Because obviously people that are victims of fire aren't, they haven't been trained in forensic fire detection, but they don't need that if their house is on fire, right? Okay, so there's a kind of expertise that comes directly from being there to make sure we're legible, right? Like if you're in the restaurant, you might not be a chef, but if your food's cold, you say, hey, it's cold. I can tell because I had a bite and it's cold. And so you really know, right? And so those people really knew, and that was the first time we've seen where crowdsourced or user-created data was driving the grown-ups to solve the problem. A lot of times people write about things and other people read about things, but those people, neither one of them is in the set of people actually doing things about it. The rescue people use rescue information, and the locals use local things to talk to each other, but the rescue people don't actually share that. But in this one, like for example in Katrina, the government used Google Earth to do a lot of important things, but the people also, and citizens used Google Earth, but the two things they did were separate things. Okay. Here, the citizens are actually using Google Earth and Google Maps to share data about what's going on. The government's using those things to try to solve the problem. And non-government organizations, the Red Cross. So these red pluses, what they would do is they would say, okay, they're green when you can come, and when you click, it'll say we've got 600 beds, we've got 200 beds left, and there's 150, 130. It's like a real-time hotel inventory. When it gets to 200, it goes red. It says, don't come here. Don't waste your gas. You don't got so much gas. So that's really interesting. I think that is the future, and that's one of the unique things about the internet and the web is that it's not just that there are 300 million plus users of Google Earth. It's that they can kind of talk to each other through Google Earth. You can describe something. This is the old well. There's a picture of it. Somebody in Argentina can fly to Chapel Hill and see the old well through your picture. And it can be more elaborate than that. But the point is that the thing that they see isn't just a picture of the campus. They see what you wrote about it, what picture you put there. I'll show you something in a minute. Okay. Now I want to talk about a little bit about the what we've done to connect the possibilities of that to people and what that has meant into those people. So this is, real quick, this is typing an address and seeing a place as a map. This is clicking a button, this is all Google Maps, and seeing that place through aerial photography or satellite photography. I don't know if you've ever been to the Netherlands, but that is strongly resemblant of the Schiphol airport, except for the women in baby buggies in the right under the magnifying glass, which give it away that it's a little miniature city. So they're full-size people and little miniature airplanes on tracks go around. And so it's like the greatest hits of the Netherlands, and you can walk around and see everything. It's just awesome. So, but it looks surreal, but you can see actually people in there. It's great. That's the place I saw virtually first, and I went there and took pictures. This is the idea when you zoom in on a map, you can actually see the building, like the Empire State Building. In a map, that's there everywhere. This is the idea that when there's a metro or public transit thing, even here or anywhere, if you click on this marker, you'll get bus information. If you click on the Q or the R, it'll tell you it comes at 7:15, 7:30, and it stops at 8. You know, you can actually do things. You can't quite go, you can't make a reservation if it was a taxi, you know, but you can find out, you can't buy a train ticket yet, but you can see when the train's coming in, and you can know when to be there to get on the train. In England, they have a place where they actually show the trains in real time on the roads. In Washington, D.C., you can turn on a map, it shows all the fire hydrants and public lights, utility pole lights in the district, and you can click on them if they're out, or leaking, or spewing water. And as soon as you click, people at the factory, like the Maytag man, their phone goes off, and they get in the truck and they go out and fix the light. So, I mean, who would know better to write the lights out except the guy who's like, you know, hey, it's dark, let's go inside and click on that thing. So it's not hard to do that. You don't have to install anything, you just click and you're done. So that's, you know, I think it's quite interesting in terms of a society change. Another idea is that you go to Times Square and you see Times Square. And of course, that's not impressive to you because you now have Google Street View in Chapel Hill. How many people know that? Okay, some people did know that. So you might not believe me, but it's true. So I can prove it to you. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Okay, obviously Chapel Hill. What we do is we say, I want to turn Street View on. Let's say we want to go to this top of the hill.
Michael, we're not seeing it.
You're not seeing it? Oh, you're missing out on the good stuff. Well, I guess you got something else to see, but I'm sorry, I didn't realize it. Thank you. So let me solve that. This one. How's that? Hey. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. This over-the-shoulder driving here is illegal, probably, in some new countries. But we turn on Street View, and we have a little man down here, and we just drag him where we want to be. Let's say this, drag him last night, and then we can see that. And it's live. We can stop, zoom in. Maybe you can see something for dinner or something. Okay. So that is true now for essentially every street in Raleigh-Durham-Chapel Hill and Triangle Park. So the advantage of that, the sort of, sort of practical advantage is if you were to search for, looking for Starbucks, we'd say, oh yeah, here's 7 of them. Well, let's do that. And I'm not being selective. I mean, it could be anything. It could be Adam and Eve products or whatever. Just, everything's in the phone book, right? It doesn't matter whatever you're looking for, you find it here. Okay. I don't know, that's still an issue here. It used to be like, when I used to live around here, it was like, oh, I can't believe they're in my same state. It was a big thing in the newspaper. Okay, so, I got the instructions, I just couldn't show you. So if you click on one of these now, get the little balloon, and the balloon, oh, it's not working, I'm embarrassed. Yeah, but it didn't, so the deal is that the Harley Starbucks thing. Oh, I guess the Street View's on, hang on a second. I know this is not as exciting a demo when it doesn't work. And I twist around like Mr. Salty or something on the truck. But, hang on. Maybe. Okay, so right there where you're not seeing something, you normally would see a street view picture, right? That's the whole point. So you can see what it is. You say, I want to go to the FedEx Center, so what does it look like? Well, you click it, you see the front of the building, you say, oh, well, when I see it, and you can pan around and something like that. So that's it. It didn't work there, but it actually works somewhere else. So does it work for them? Okay, well, it works for hundreds of millions of other people today. I don't know why it's not working for me tonight, but that's, wasn't that way sometimes. Okay, so let's just get back on track. So, it's kind of fun to actually see things that you haven't been to like you were there. So one of the things I really dislike, I'm not proud of yet about Google Earth, is we can fly from outer space kind of down to the street, but all you can see is the top of the building. Right? Like you didn't know there was a big presentation up on the roof, right? But you can't see the front door. So the street view lets us do the next part, right? And then the next thing is to like maybe go inside, right? So there's to kind of come out, down, and go in. So get closer and closer. But there's also metadata like how's the traffic right now? So real-time traffic. I don't know if you have an iPhone. I won't demonstrate this, but if you have a map, I can Google the map on the iPhone, and there's a little, since the software update about 2 weeks ago, there's a little circle. You hit the circle, and it puts the circle where you are. And there's no GPS in the iPhone. So we'll trick that. Okay. So how would you know? So that's pretty cool. So I'm not gonna say. But I met the senator. He went on a trip to congressional delegation to Iraq. He went around to visit with constituents, people from his area or their children or whatever, and then he met with them, had pictures taken. And as he was going around, they put the stories up on the blog, this geo blog, of I'm here today and I'm meeting with Gunnery Sergeant Bob, and then he's from Topeka, and then I'm going over here. So they were going around sharing things about what's going on, and people back home were commenting on those. I believe that's a real big future in that. Future is yet unseen, actually. So the next thing is, I'm trying to communicate something I'm not doing a good job of, but hopefully you're with me on this. It isn't the actual map that matters. I mean, it's a map collector. And I mean, it's not the map that matters. If you're an astronaut, this is a great view, but if you, I mean, the point is that it's what is like, where are the things on the Earth? You're like, where is the star? That's what's mattering. It's not the commercial. Like, where are the ancient burial sites? Where is Indian Mound? Where is the where the ruins of Petra? Whatever it is, but where it is. Okay, so this is where it is when it's above us. This is the Iridium satellite network. And if you go and click on any of the satellites, you can see details about where they are right now, and whose battery's low, and stuff like that. This is the moon. You go to the moon, moon.google.com. You can see, click on Apollo program, you can see all the Apollo shots, and you can click on each one, you can see pictures from NASA that the astronauts took, mosaiced into the moon. So in this case, if we go closer, you can zoom down, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where the lunar lander landed, and you can't see it, but down there at the bottom is a little white outline, that's where the limb was actually sitting. And point number 2 is where this man walked down there and made his speech. So point number 1. So I thought that was cool, because I remember going outside and looking up at the moon. They did that on TV. So it seemed cool to me that you could have like you know where the top of the hill is, like the street view kind of thing, and you know where the footprint is on the moon. And the same idea. It doesn't make you an astronaut, but it makes you kind of understand, well, where was that? And if you do this on web browser right now, you see the Sea of Tranquility, you see where that is, make some other things. It's great. So then we had let me take a break again, show you something else. This is worth it, so trust me. Okay, so that was Google Maps. You can't see that either. So I'm just gonna switch to the mode where I can see what you see, and that means that I can actually drive legally. Okay, so this is Google Earth, which is similar in many ways, but it's different in that it's a 3D experience, which is good because Earth itself is bumpy and lots of 3D stuff going on. We can go anywhere we want. This isn't anywhere in particular. I was doing it at random. But if you zoom in, you see, oh yeah, there's an island there, and there's, a little swamp in the middle of it. So it's like, it's the whole world, okay? So, if you remember Katrina, right, that was in the summer of 2005. And most of the Google Earth team was very busy helping do things with Katrina, but not me. I was on a secret mission, and I'll show you what I was doing. So, what I was doing was I was scoping out Hawaii to make sure it was okay. And it was great actually, yeah, there's nothing wrong with Hawaii at all. I heard all these rumors, Hawaii's no good, you shouldn't go there, but actually, it was okay. And so there's the dry side and the wet side and all that, but if you, let's see, right between these two resorts, let's go to Han's house. My wife and I stayed in this house, and it was unbelievable. It was just great, but I never want to come back. But anyway, but I did, because I was also doing business while I was there. And the business I was doing was this. On top, there's a big, it turns out that the big island of Hawaii is a volcano. It's not a secret, I know that, but it's a volcano. And on top of it, on top of Mauna Kea, there's a constellation, basically, of the world's best observatories there in Chile. And I went to visit all these observatories. I said, hey, Google Earth observatories, let's do something together, what you want to do, we can be buddies and stuff. So, and plus it got me in, to the observatories. And this is from the upstairs railing here like this, but of the Canada, France, Hawaii telescope. And in Google Earth now, we added a feature where you can take pictures and embed them into the planet, but tilt it up like you would see them. So you can, fly to a place and see tourist pictures. And this is a big deal, it's like more than 4 million pictures already. It's a big deal. Okay, so it's not like you have 350 million users, it adds up pretty quickly. So, picture I took, and so there's a photo browsing mode in Google Earth now, so you can zoom into the picture and pan around. Okay, so I'm not going to show you all my vacation pictures, that's all I'm going to do. But in spirit I am, just to show you that they're all dated here when I take pictures. But you go to the picture, and then it tilts, and then it shows you what it looks like from that point of view. So here's from the Subaru telescope, the one I'm standing on is the Japanese telescope, National Telescope. On the left is the Keck twin observatories, and in between them there's this kind of light tube thing with an interferometer. It's a really absolutely fabulous thing. So, and then off in the distance on the far left, that's Canada, France, Hawaii, and the one on the right is called Gemini, its twin is in Chile. But I was there trying to talk to these observatories to see if we could do business. We'll give you money or fame or something, and you give us data, and the world will be a smarter, better place. And the great thing is, they went for it. And so we launched that just last fall. Forgotten, because it took like 2 or 3 years to do it, but it's done now. And it's called Google Sky. And up here, that means sky. If you click on that, Google Earth stops looking down, like from outside looking down at the planet, and like lands where you were standing and looks up to see what the stars are. Okay? And they look like that. And so it's not very dark in here, but on my screen I see lots of stars. You don't see them. But and those things aren't stars. Those are place marks. But if we zoom in, hopefully you can see. Well, it's beautiful up here. Afterwards I'll show you. But the big things you see are 1 out of 100 things that I see. And this is like, can you turn the lights down? Anybody? Does anybody turn the lights down? Anybody in charge?
On the touch screen.
Oh, a touch screen.
It's in light.
Like an iPod, right? Okay, hang on. This is gonna work. It's great. I'm gonna hit up lights.
And then all up.
Ooh. You guys okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, no snakes or anything in here. It's okay. Okay, hit all up. Okay. Can you see where stars now? Oh, good job. Okay, so here's the deal. So all together, okay, there's Milky Way, it's all messy up there. All together, we scanned in all these digital sky surveys. There's 100 million stars individually photographed, 200 million galaxies. Okay? And the good thing is, that's the uninteresting part. Okay? That's great if you're an astronomer, because there's things you never see from your backyard, no matter what you bought from Edmund Scientific. And you keep going and going and going. And finally you get to the end here, and it's kind of blurry, and that's basically the resolution of the best thing you can see at Palomar, the best thing you could see at Keck, the best thing that's what you see there. But there are better telescopes. They're just not on the Earth. They're in space, basically the Hubble. So these things turn out to be showcase of Hubble images. So what we do is, if we zoom into one of those, something really good happens. Oops. I just did a mouse problem. That's okay. Everything's fine. Don't worry. Okay. So this is this sort of global context. If you think of the street view, think of street view as being like the high detail inset inside the generic picture of where we are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on one of these. Then this is the Hubble picture. See, inset into what would have been just one of these dots. Okay, like it would have been like all these other dots. But since the Hubble happened to take a picture of that one, we can zoom in and see the fine structure that the Hubble image. So the idea is we get all the pictures ever taken by the Hubble inset into this total galactic context, like graph paper, from all the normal large area sky surveys. So we think something good will come of that. We don't know what it would be. Certainly it's not to sell ads or something, right? It's not short term like that. But if nothing else, people might figure out there's 200 million galaxies and each of them has, you know, like across like, you know, millions and millions of billions of planets. Maybe there's somebody out there we should talk to, be friendly, nice to be nice to. Maybe it's for saving up enough money out of the budget to build a spaceship. So plenty of research on light-speed travel, maybe something like that. Whatever it is, these pictures from Hubble were always there. You could always go to the Hubble site and see like a snapshot. But that would be like a picture of the Amazon Delta with like a picture of a leaf, right? It's so small compared to the totality that you haven't seen it even when you see it. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is great, and you can see it now. It took about 2-3 years to do it, but it's done. And you know, we didn't copyright the sky or anything. I think probably see this from other companies too. Everything we do, you can see from somebody else. Which is fine. It's fine. You know, it's a world of interest. And so let me show you. It's one I want to show you that I like a lot. It turns out that once you start looking at these things, you can actually have favorites. Okay. And this sounds crazy, but you actually can. So this every dot there, and you guess them all. They're all galaxies. It's a 1,000,000-second exposure for those who like time-lapse photography. They found the darkest place they could find. They just turned the Hubble there and said, stay there. It's a 1,000,000-second exposure. It's 50,000 galaxies. Okay, in that leaf in the Amazon kind of thing. So it gives you a sense. There's nothing special with it. They just want to look at a dark place so that light pollution wouldn't spoil their 1,000,000-second image. So in spirit, it'd be that way everywhere. In August, or September, I went to talk to Stephen Hawking and showed him this before we launched it. And I said, it's like this everywhere? He said, oh yeah, everywhere. I said, well, this is like amazing. He said, well, you know, that's the way it is. You know? It's kind of like, it's kind of like if you're a plumber, then it's just plumbing to you. You know? But to me, it's awesome. And every dot, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Every dot, see, they're not stars. They're all little galaxies. It's absolutely fabulous. You know? So that one right there, which is, imagine that one right there. Imagine that was the Milky Way. Well, that's kind of too red. We wouldn't like that. So back to this one. Nice, friendly looking. That's our sister galaxy, you know, Milky Way 2 or something. So when you zoom out, this is as good as the Hubble gets. Okay, if you zoom out, you can see, well, that guy is, he's just one little dot in that set of galaxies, and that's just one little dot in this giant star field. Okay, you have to get all the way out to get a sense of what you can see when you look outside tonight when you walk home. If we turn on the constellations, you can get a sense of the scale. Okay, so when you look up and see, like, you know, Orion's belt, you know, then like something the size of each dot is the area that has the 50,000 galaxies in it. It's fabulous. To me, it's fabulous. I'm excited about it. Okay, now I'm not even an astronomer. I think it's exciting. So, the next thing I want to show you, back to Earth now, and I'm not going to show you more of my vacation pictures, but I do want to show you another idea of data visualization, because at the end I want to kind of summarize this and give you a sense of what this all means. See how we do it. Okay. I'm not going to show you more of those pictures. I promised I wouldn't do that. So, are you guys okay with the lights being off for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, good. What I want to show you, let's just go to, let's see. Chapel. No, let's see. Pittsburgh. Chapel Hill being such a center of society that it may not be a fair test. So go to Pittsburgh, and you say, now there's, tens of millions of books written, right, in the world, and Google scans them all, and we're indexing everything, and we look at every word and say, does that look like it's part of an address? And if so, if it can be mapped onto Pittsburgh, we like put a marker there. Okay? Crazy as that sounds. And let's look for all the books that we've ever scanned so far that mention Pittsburgh. So we go to the layers and say, I want to look at books. Book search on. Now, it could be that nobody ever mentioned Pittsburgh too. So I mean, I didn't do this ahead of time. Well, I just say Pittsburgh's not looking too good. On the other hand, that's okay though. Maybe it was in some other language, like Swahili. But Raleigh has books, and Chapel Hill has books, and Durham, you can see, also very laggard there. And I should point out that the Google Sky thing you saw was done by a UNC CS computer graphics graduate. Some work done here was done by a CS graduate from UNC. One of the co-founders of Google Earth, Keyhole, is a PhD from Duke. The doctor that did my retinal surgery 8 weeks ago was a UNC graduate of 95. Chief architect of this is a UNC graduate. So my wife's ears were done by Dr. Pillsbury over here at the hospital. So you guys are great. So, one little lonely book over there in Hillsborough. Now, if you go to Google search and you search for something, you're probably trained by now that you don't get all the results. You only get like 10, right? 10, 15, whatever, in your search results. And it says 2 million results, but you see the first 10 or 20. Okay. So those books in the circle, with one in the middle, that's the I feel lucky book. This ring is the first page of search results, the most highest volume on Amazon or most citations or whatever. And if you go a little bit closer, you get a second rank. That's page 2. And page 3 even. And so if we go to one of these and click on it, American Colonization Society is taking money from people. Autobiography of somebody. If we click on this, we'll be taken to a book reader that shows the page and has that phrase for Chapel Hill highlighted. Okay, so this is a visual index of the world's books by the places they describe. Okay, that's not, that isn't the way to read a book. Like if you say, I want to read about how much land does a man need? Well, I'll go look for, it doesn't work backwards. But if you were interested in a place, what's been written about it, I think it's actually pretty cool. You can imagine an index by the home of the author. So you go to Asheville and you'd see Thomas Wolfe. I guess that would work for local range anyway. But that's an idea we had, and we did that. Just because it seemed cool. The other thing that I think is very important is I personally believe that a lot of people own digital cameras, which obviously is not a big statement. But what's interesting is that they're changing in quality all the time. More and more pixels, better lenses, better software to process those, either mosaicing little pictures or really big cameras. And what's going to happen, I think, in the next 5-10 years is all the cameras have GPS, all cameras have Wi-Fi, all the cameras, when you take pictures, the pictures get uploaded to some file sharing service. Even if you don't share, it's personal. They go up there and wait for you to look at them. Which means that you almost can just take pictures constantly. So you can wear a video camera, it all goes away somewhere, and you don't look at it, it's there. So the question would be, how would you organize that? How would you find the things you care about in the this needle in a really big haystack. And we're practicing that with these pictures. Let's go take a look somewhere. Let's go anywhere, actually. But let's see. Well, how about this one? Since I took it. So this is Jacksonville, Florida. And we fly in and we get a picture of the city skyline. It merges with the city. Field of view matches properly. And then we can zoom into this picture. And so you see this, this bridge there, there's buildings. And if you zoom in real close, you'd be surprised how close you can zoom. So it looks pretty good, huh? But you keep going. So you got here, clean windows. I didn't see him when I took the picture. That's the thing I like. I couldn't see that coming. That doesn't know. Maybe I was blind or something. But it's like Hooters over here. You can't see anything. TGI Fridays and stuff. So it's that kind of thing for these pictures all around the world. Some taken with a very high resolution camera, some taken with little cameras mosaic together. But the idea is that you can explore them as a portal to fly down to see the thing, then zoom into the picture to see it. What better way to look at pictures than to see them in context? So now I have to stop this so I can finish up and tell you something I haven't told you yet that you need to know. Okay. So we talked about some things that are, I'll talk about what it means. But since you're there, everybody hold on their seat. Hold on the seat in front of you or put your seatbelt on, okay? Okay? So the way the city block pictures come into, Google Street View pictures come into being is we drive around with vans with cameras on top. And this is an example of what you see when you drive around. The roads look funny because, you know, it's the side, ahead of you, beside you, and behind you. The funny warping that you see of straight lines is something you read all about in SIGGRAPH papers by UNC graphics researchers. That's what it looks like. So there's actually a continuous video. We show you frames out of that. When people report some picture as catching them sneezing or some objectionable thing, then we just pick a different frame that's safer. This was the inaugural ride of the two cars, the one in front of us that we're keeping a distance from. This is downtown Mountain View. But the car in front of us is the same as us, taking pictures back with us. We were driving around downtown Mountain View. So this is what gets processed. This is the kind that was going on here in Chapel Hill, taking pictures up and down Franklin Street and everywhere else to get the scenes that were used to make the street view. So the way we produce it, on the web is different than the way we actually capture it. They're heading back to the nest here, which is actually pretty cool. This is the first ride to the end of this. It's pretty fun. Driving is a lot of time waiting, actually, is what it comes down to. But almost there. Now the guys who walking around taking pictures, see all the flash? We're taking pictures of, the first time, look at that. It worked, here comes the guy to put the lids down. So that's the, that was the first street view car drive, taking pictures and stuff. And so now I want to talk a little bit about what all this stuff means. And it's really important, it's the most important part, but I don't think people would think about it too well until we talk about what it is. I'm much more concerned about informing people and transforming the world than about particular technical features in the product. So how does that work? Because we're just a company, just programmers in Mountain View and around the world, but a few of us and many billions of people. So how do we do that? Well, there was a man named John Clemens who's an economics researcher with the Nobel Prize in Economics. And basically what he did was he invented independently advanced the linear programming model of solving giant linear systems. And he used that to analyze national economies, understand cash flows and how things work. And all his life then was based on leveraging that same work. And then when he kind of when he retired, he had done the Nobel Prize, he'd been very famous, he got tenure, and everything. So then he said, well, then I can just be honest about things. And he said, I tried to hammer too many nails with the same hammer. And he did this little treatise about problems and tools. and basically said, once you have a good tool, it takes on a life of its own, you can't stop, like addicted to it, you gotta stop everything with that one tool, and go around looking for problems to solve with that tool, probably pretty typical of most of us. So that's good to a career change. We just hired a guy to work for us in Google Earth, who is an astronaut. He's been in space 3 times, he's been in the Mir, been in the space station, been off on a Soyuz, and he said, well, I've done that, I'm gonna work for Google now. So, he said, try something new. So one of the things that Hoffman's wrote out really well is that, and this is, I'll just go, in case you read really slow, let me go ahead and put these up here. Here's the idea. People are smart. They won't try to solve problems that they know going into it, they just can't solve. Like some cases don't go to court, they get thrown out because there's just no way. And so people are the same way. If you had a giant boulder and you wanted to move it, and it was like 100 tons, and you had like a, I don't know, a fork or, you push on it, you say, well, I can't move it, it's just, we gotta move it. But if you had a giant crane, maybe you would try to move it. Right? Very few people would invent a crane because they want to move a boulder. That's why innovation is so valuable. There actually are people so crazed that when the boulder's in their way, they would invent the crane, they would invent dynamite, they would invent water blasting method. They would invent whatever it took to move the boulder in their gardens. There are people like that. And those people invent tools usually to solve some narrow problem like the boulder without thinking about revitalizing construction or changing economics of undersea living or whatever possible ramifications. They never think of that. They say, I want to solve this problem. They solve that problem. It turns out that it's a good solution, it's orthogonal, you can build on, it's exposed to smart people. It can change the world, but you didn't know enough to change the world. You only knew enough to build this tool. What happens after you do that is all these other people with this pent-up frustration with like boulders in their yard can't wait to buy a crane. That's what it comes down to. So it's not that you build a better mousetrap, it's more like there was no mousetrap, people just put cheese on the floor and live with the mice. And then somebody makes a mousetrap, and then they say, forget these mice, I'm gonna go buy a mousetrap. So it's like you don't think to solve the problem until somebody shows you the tool. And I don't know if you ever took a math class like in high school, but the big thing there was like there were the givens, okay, it's like a long time. There were givens, and then there were the thing to find. Given all this stuff, prove this. Given all this stuff, find that. And there were always people in the room that would say, well, what if X was 7? I mean, what if that was different? They would want to change the givens. They said, oh, you can't change the givens, you go and play with the variables, right? Well, the truth is, there are a lot of things that you think are givens in life that aren't givens. They're just, you don't have a crane. So you think, oh, that's one of the givens, I have to be close to the factory or I couldn't have a job, even though I'm dying of the smoke or something. Well, you could actually live far away and telecommute, so to speak. You have to invent like the terminal and the modem. I mean, it's a lot of work, but things that aren't really givens. And you can see that as time progresses. Things that were given 10 years ago, like, oh, you can't reach him now, he's out of the office. It's like, well, call him on his cell phone, here's the number, right? I mean, it's not a given anymore. So those givens change. As soon as the givens change, people say, oh, I couldn't have invented that tool, but I can sure use it. So inventing the tools has a phenomenal leverage on the world. Phenomenal leverage on the world. And the most powerful tool will be a tool that enables people to communicate with each other, obviously. I'm not going to share this with you. My time is running short, and I want to do something. I'm not going to share that with you. You're going to miss that. And that. Oh, you can't miss this. This is too good. So, the minute France was having an election, presidential election, they worked with us to visualize the results. The elections poll closed at 9. By 8 o'clock this morning, everybody could see the results on Google Earth. So you go to Google Earth, you fly. Oops, didn't do it. Oh no. I'm so sorry. Was it sweet? Oh, okay, sorry. My ignorance here is hurting me. I apologize. Sorry. Forgive me. Okay. So here we go. So you can click on that one icon for France, and then you can see this is the primary election. You can see the results rolled up to the whole country. Okay? Kind of like international news at a high level. Then when you zoom in a little bit to see what would be a department, which would be the equivalent of a state here, you can click the icon to see the state news, the departmental voting, okay? Like this. I think this is cool because Jefferson had got all those weird ideas about education and information, enlightening society from the revolutionaries in France when he was over there before he became revolutionary over here. So it's nice to kind of take that back to them. And then we swipe their colors for our flag and everything. But then you can see the local news. And if you want to go to more like a city, they're called communes, you can see those too. You can fly in and see how those work. You can even go to the littlest village and say, well, there's 300 people, 400 people can vote, 300 did, and we voted 27 this way, 37 that way. So you could accept it the country. And because we had satellite photography of the entire country, then everybody could see their region, how people voted with bar charts and things. It's actually pretty cool, and I think you'll see a lot more of that in upcoming elections. In fact, they've got a lot of politics. Everybody that's running for president in the United States has come to Google, I think, and seen Google Earth. We'll talk about that very soon. The Ohio State Highway Patrol, and I guess every state does this, but Highway Patrol in Ohio particularly, they keep track of intersections where people have accidents, habitually, and then they publish a little chart. They have like the icons up there. One is for involves a vehicle, one involves like a vehicle and drinking, and one is drinking only, and one teenage drivers. One's like teenage drivers drinking and driving a vehicle, whatever, but it's got the combinations, and they have the whole state mapped out. And what they do is every day they publish this dangerous intersection report, and they publish this as a Google Earth KML file. You can go fly and see it. So they don't print a map. They just say go fly around and see for yourself. And then my last comment here has to do, you have to read this. I just want to communicate that small things done in large measure have a big impact. And one of the things we've done in the last year is to have satellite data for all of Sudan, very high resolution data in the Darfur area of Sudan, and to work with the U.S. National Holocaust Museum and other groups around the world to map out every village in Darfur that's been damaged or destroyed. Okay, specifically, like the census. And every icon you see going off to infinity there, those are every red one is a totally destroyed village. Could be 200 houses, could be 2,000 houses, and all the yellow ones are partially destroyed. Maybe it was 1,000 houses, but only 100 were destroyed, or only 800 were destroyed. Less than half. And I wrote an article about this, and what I find important about it isn't that picture, because that picture is a picture everybody knows. Big problem. Lots of, everybody knows that, big problem. But what's interesting is that when you zoom in a little bit closer and say, well, here's a refugee camp, and if we look at the pictures that children draw in the camp, they draw pictures of people being raped, pictures of people being macheted, pictures of cuts being machine gun strafed. It's like 5-year-old children, right? So they shouldn't draw those pictures with crayons and blank piece of paper. So you say, wow, I have neighbors, I have kids, I have whatever, that shouldn't be happening. That's somehow more personal, even though it's only one kid versus a whole sea of flames, it's different. And your brain, I think, perceives that differently. And if you go even closer, you can go house by house and read stories of what happened in that house. And you have survivors talking about their parents being killed. In this case, a brother talking about his sister being killed because he wouldn't let the rape her. It's very specific. It's like, in that house, this happened, reported by this guy to the UN on this day. It's very specific. And this idea of seeing all of a region of Africa that most of us have never seen and will never see in person, to actually see house by house the crime log, is a unique tool in the Copeland's way, I think, of creating a different world. Not a world without violence or a world without hatred. The computers didn't bring that, and they can't take that away, but maybe a world of earlier understanding and recognition, at least. After we launched this layer, the next week, President Bush looked at it and was very complimentary. He said, to no one who sees this, these layers can know that this is not genocide and that all reasonable people have to do something about it, which I liked. And I'll be brave here. With that, I will take questions, although I will hope you will understand that I can't answer all possible questions. Thank you very much.